hundreds of thousands of missing people. Department of Homeland Security actually tried to flub that number just a few weeks ago. Now it's dramatically more. Also, 1 million jobs lost through the Biden-Harris administration, but they changed the numbers 2 weeks ago so you wouldn't know that. The way they get those numbers have now changed to show that the jobs market's great. It's actually not. Also, Trump could have the winning card, the Trump card, no pun intended, in his hand because of something that Nicole Shanahan just said and we need to talk about. And then lastly, we'll talk about the capital gains tax, the unrealized gains tax that Kamala is wanting. It will destroy our economy. You think it's about the rich. No, it's about you. They are going to take your money and take the things that you own. You will own nothing and be happy because you'll be so broke under this economy that it won't matter. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up. That does mean the world to me, and I humbly ask that you do that because it helps us spread our message across this platform. Now today we're going to be discussing really 4 or 5 headlines that need to be discussed because they're missing. Things are not getting told to you like they should. First and foremost, they've changed the job numbers. 2 weeks ago, the job numbers looked strong. Well, it's because they changed the way they get the numbers. Truth be told, there was a news story that came out that the BizDoc from PBD, Tom Ellison, shared on Twitter. He said the way they get the numbers have totally changed. However, what it does is actually make the jobs numbers look better for the Biden-Harris administration. Now, the truth is already out there. But the thing is, if the legacy media only wants to do positive stories, they're not going to touch it. How do we miss 1 million jobs? The government is revising the jobs numbers again, right on time, to deceive the American people. Releasing the numbers to the media gets accolades, and so that's what they did. They changed the way they formulated the numbers so the media would spin it to show that the job numbers are great. However, what they don't tell you is they released the revision 2 weeks later. So what they did is they talked about how this is great, this is excellent, awesome. And then all of a sudden they just did an audit and reported that, oh, well, they were wrong. They actually misreported the fact that we lost 1 million jobs. Something easily missed, because guess what? Revisions do not get the coverage of the main media when they're telling you how great the economy is. Now let's go right on to something that I think you need to pay attention to when it comes to capital gains and unrealized gains tax that she's wanting to implement. When somebody says they want to tax your unrealized gains, what that means is you're not realizing that you're making money because you've not accepted the money. So what they're saying is this is against millionaires, billionaires. So if they make millions of dollars in the stock market, even though they're not claiming it, their value has went up, so we're going to tax that. That's the way they're going to spin it. Now let me tell you how it's actually going to work. Say you bought a house back in 1995. That house you paid maybe $30,000, $40,000 for. That house is worth maybe $150,000, $200,000 now. Well, in this economy, the housing market has went up. Say that house went up, value now is worth about $400,000. Now, don't think that's ironic and crazy. If you live in a house, your value has went up, so your assets have went up. Now, you didn't sell that house, you still live in that house. So if you bought the house for $30,000, the house was worth $150,000 maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and now it's worth $400,000. What's the difference of $400,000 and $150,000? That's an unrealized gain. What does that mean? That means you've made an extra $250,000. Well, you didn't make that. You didn't actually pocket that money. Well, if all of a sudden you're taxed 25% on that, that means you're paying a tax on a $250,000 gain that you have unrealized, that you have not gotten. So are you ready to lose your home? So what does that mean? That means either you have to sell your home to then pay for the tax on it, or you have to come up with a lot of money because that's the unrealized gain on your property. You think that's far-fetched? That's exactly what she's trying to pass. So when we talk about, oh, it's on the millionaire and billionaires, it's actually on you. Go do your value. Go to Zillow.com and see what your value of your home was last year, or 2 years, or 5 years ago, and see what it is today. And then times that, times 25%. That is what Kamala wants you to pay in tax next year. You, as the typical American. That's why you're going to see a massive depression if this lady wins. Or you will literally own nothing because she's going to take it from you because your taxation is going to be so much that you can't afford it. So you're going to have to sell things and realize the gain to then turn around and have to pay the tax of the unrealized gain. That's not preposterous. That's exactly what's happening. Sleight of hand. It's just like the millions of jobs they lost, but they didn't tell you about. Before we continue with this video, a word from our sponsor of today. So we hear from our politicians how bad our economy is. And we see it every day. I go into the grocery stores and then I go in these stores and people can't afford to live. What that means is our economy is not as good as we thought it would be. How can we get a balanced budget? How can we control our debts? Well, first of all, you need to write down what you spend. Also, you need to know what wants and needs are. If you're paying minimums on a credit card and it's costing you 20 to 30% interest to pay it, you'll never get out of debt. This is why American Financing may help you. American Financing comes beside you, and even though I tell you not to borrow money, even though I don't want you to take money out of your home, sometimes it may be the best option, especially when it comes to getting your interest under control. If you're paying for a credit card and it's 25% interest and you're paying $19 or $20 a month, you will have that for the rest of your life and never get on a sound footing when it comes to your financials. So let's clean it up. Yes, interest is higher. It's not 3 and 4% anymore. But 7 and 8%, if you can get a loan for that and turn around and consolidate some of your debts and get some of that 25 and 30% interest off of you, it may allow you to be able to sleep better at night and especially start balancing a budget better and feel better when it comes to your own economics. You may be able to save a ton, hundreds of dollars a month on some of your debts. But not only that, when you refinance, it may give you a little breather, at least for a month, to get a handle on it. And my goal is for you not to borrow money. My goal is for you to get out of debt. Well, lowering it from 25 to 30% to maybe 7 or 8% or even lower could be the answer. Let's cut up the credit cards. Let's get better interest rates, and let's try to find a way to get out of debt. Check out American Financing today. You know what else is scary? DHS, Department of Homeland Security, put out a report that the Inspector General checked. You remember a few weeks ago I talked about 85,000 missing children, underage, missing here, that came over across the border. Truth is, listen to this, in a stunning report released in the middle of the DNC going on right now, the Harrison-Biden administration admitted to hundreds of thousands of children now missing, likely sold into trafficking. That 85,000 number is actually 291,000. So why is all these people coming across the border and we're not able to keep up with them? Where's those missing kids? 291,000? 85 was unbelievable. 291,000 is almost 3 times that number. So those numbers, when we skew numbers, when the legacy media skew numbers, when the Harris administration skews numbers and actually lies to you, this is the truth. Unrealized gains will cost you as an American. The fact that we've lost jobs shows that we're in a recession or a depression. They just don't want to tell you about it because they want to win the election. And then on top of that, now we have undocumented people. 300,000 children are missing because this administration can't keep up with them. Why? And they're likely now trafficked. Is this the whole reason of the border? This is the kind of numbers that are not getting reported that we should know. Now, you want to solve this? Trump is not Superman. I'm not saying that. But remember, let's talk the last 16 years. Democrats want to tell you how bad it is. They want to tell you how awful it is and how Kamala is going to solve everything. Of the last 12 years of 16. So this is a Charlie Kirk quote, and I thought it was huge. Democrats want to talk about how much problems you have. Do you realize the last 16 years of America has been ran by Democrats other than 3.5 years of that? Trump took 4 years out. Let's just say 4 years. Even though we're not going to talk about the cases, we're not going to talk about COVID. 4 years out of 16 years have been ran by Republicans. The rest have been run by Democrats. So when the problems are there and the fact that the economy is struggling, the fact that we're in endless wars, the fact that we don't have money, why does everybody want to blame Trump or want to blame the Republicans when 16 years, 12 of those 16 years were ran by Democrats? Look at your cities. Do the report on your cities. The consensus actually is that Republicans caused the problem for the cities. Name one city that's in complete peril and panic right now that's been ran by Republicans over the last 20 to 30 years. Not one major city in America, metropolitan city, has been ran by a Republican in the last 20 to 30 years that has not just all of a sudden changed, or the fact of it's minority where it's like maybe a year or two since they just started this last election. Other than that, it's been ran by Democratic control. So who's actually going to help you solve these problems? You're fixing to get overtaxed, the fact that we're missing jobs and missing children. However, we don't want to talk about that. We're going to talk about how Kamala's going to solve everything and make your grocery prices cheaper. There are people like cheering that on. Do they realize she's in the White House now? And she's not done anything about it. Obama talked about last night, both Obamas talked about how, the Democrats want to help the common man, want to help the normal person. They had 8 years to do it. Now they've pretty much had Biden to do it too, and it's failed. 12 years have failed. You know what's so crazy? The Obamas have 4 multi-million-dollar homes. They're worth anywhere from $70 to $100 million. So who actually did better and benefited during those years? Was it you as the American, or was it the Democrats? Now, I'm not casting shade just on Democrats. There's been Republicans that's been bad too. But if you want to solve these problems and want to get better numbers, true numbers, you got to get away from these Democrats. Capital gains will tear us up. I will give you one hope, one Trump card that Trump actually has. Nicole Shanahan came out yesterday and stated, and Nicole Shanahan is the VP choice for RFK. She came out and said on Tom Bilyeu, she sees 2 options. They could keep fighting for 5% and hopefully open up a door for a third party, which is complete and utter a loss. Trust me, I want to get away from 2-party system, but RFK and Shanahan are not going to be that people. However, that 5 to 7% could be huge if they realize that they're pulling votes from Trump. And we said this months ago that they're not pulling from Democrats, they're pulling from Trump. If they join forces, like she said, they see that as a viable option to join forces with Trump for the greater good. If I could plead with any of them, I would say, please do this. I told you, I'm not an RFK or Shanahan fan. But what I am a fan of is seeing Trump win, because I think this unity party would help make America back to at least stable again. Remember, you just got lied to about millions of jobs that have been lost. You've been lied to saying that these taxes are not going to affect you. However, unrealized gains will affect every American. And they're taxing, they want to overtax you, so then therefore the economy looks better while they spend uber billions and trillions of dollars of your money overseas to fatten their pockets. The only hope is that Trump wins this election. Not that he is the saving grace. I'm not saying that. But he is our only way that we're going to see America be strong again. Right now, Russia is meeting with China. Once more, right now. Go outside the DNC and see that they're burning flags and the police are having problems with disruptors and pro-Palestine rallies. Is this the party that's going to give you what you want in America? Is it all smoke and mirrors? Kennedy, Shanahan, please join Trump. Please build this unity ticket. Become cabinet members. Now, as a conservative, I don't like what they stand for, but I do believe that I can pass on some of those things to make sure that Trump wins. It's like this. This is how you think about it. If a unity ticket is 70% of what you want, 30% of what you don't want, that's still better than 0% of what Kamala is going to give us. So I hope that Kennedy and Shanahan will join Trump. And I think if I was Trump, I'd be doing all I can to send out my feelers. And I would be saying, okay, I'm going to meet and have my people that I trust meet with Kennedy, meet with Shanahan. They'd be meeting with Massey and Paul and Amash. They'd be meeting with DeSantis. They'd be meeting with other independents and other people that are not part of the main populist MAGA movement. And they would be building a coalition that can dominate this. Go back and watch yesterday's video of me talking about this, about how we need to talk about 4 things. Those 4 things are all you need to talk about, because 80% of the people see those problems with the economy, with the border, with the fact of our cities in peril, and the fact that we have a problem with policing the world. When you bring in these kind of people like the Kennedys, the Masseys, and you build a coalition of a unity, you are building that extra 5 to 7 to 10% of independents and libertarians and freedom-minded people that were voting for maybe one of the other candidates. Now you're putting them under your wing, and you can beat Kamala. You have to beat the media too, the system. Remember, they hid the fact of 1 million jobs missing. They're hiding the fact of the DHS report of the bombshell 300,000 trafficked individuals that are missing. They're hiding all that. Now it's time to expose it, and it's time to build a unity ticket. Shanahan was spot on, and it's going viral, and I hope that Shanahan and Kennedy will come around, support Trump. They work together and make America great. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this. These stories need to be talked about, and no one's talking about them, so hopefully we'll share this message, spread it, and really see the numbers for what they are. Unrealized gains, and your taxes will die. You will get hurt if this administration wins, because that tax is on you. The IRS agents that were hired, the 87,000, was not for billionaires and millionaires. It was for you. Pay attention to truth. Don't put your head in the sand and think that all of this smoke and mirrors is truth. It's not. It's hidden agendas. Guys, let me know your thoughts. God bless.